Alright, there were repairings, but we actually get to keep our feature match, as both these players are undefeated and don't really have a lot of other people to compete with anymore. So, welcome viewers, listeners. Let's get ready for a round 3 between Edouard and Lars. A quick look to see what our leaderboard says, just to know if these players are actually still playing, are in contention for a draw, a bye in the finals. WordPress. For people who are wondering what the hell I'm talking about when I refer the leaderboards, you can have a look at those at gentrymagic.wordpress.com. There's also some explanation. So at this point we have Lars in 8th place and can realistically still get into top 2 to win a bye, and Edouard in 18th place, too far down to actually still win something off the leaderboard, but of course still in contention to win some nice boosters tonight. And we have the role to decide who starts. We know that Edouard is playing Rise of the Tides Blue-Black Control. I'm not sure which deck Lars is playing. He used to be our tutelage guy, but he's been playing other decks as well. I see white cards in his hand. There is a white blue tutelage control deck as well right now, so could still be tutelage. So if you just joined us recently, my name is Niels, I'm your commentator for tonight, and you are looking at round 3 of the Gentry ladder tournament, Gentry being a budget format version of standard, where you're allowed only 15 uncommons and 4 individually different mythics and or rares. It's a surprisingly diverse meta game, and it's an awful lot of fun to play. So we've had a few mid-rangey decks in the feature match so far, and now we have 2 blue players facing off against each other. Just to illustrate that we do have some other things to fill the meta game. Curious to see what Lars will be playing. At least I'll have some time to talk during the early game, since it's very unlikely that these players will do more than play the occasional anticipate. That's the awkward thing about a control-ish matchup. There's not that much going on in the beginning, and there's a lot of dead removal. So Lars on blue-white. And not sure, is that an anticipate promo being played? I think it's a promo anticipate by Lars in the response to the draw spell. Edouard, welke spel is dat van u? Hoe noemt je spel van u? Uw spel dat je net gespeeld hebt. Ja. Pieces. Yeah, Pieces of the Puzzle is the card that Edouard played. Kunnen jullie ook de live totals 5 centimeter dichter schuiven? Of zo, is ook goed. Alright, so both players are setting up with card draw spells, pieces of the puzzle for Edouard to fill his graveyard as well. With Rise of the Tides, Rise from the Tides, those are actual value, and Lars showing he's playing a more tempo version of blue-white control. So likely a comparable version to Lars, and that's Jace's archive. So Edouard gets to scry one whenever he plays an instant or a sorcery spell. In the meantime, he is under a little bit of pressure, but of course, him being a control deck, he has access to tons of removal and sweepers, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. Now, Lars gets on the board with a Gideon though. That's a lot more potent than the token it replaced for sure. So this is a bit of a difficult board for Edouard to handle, especially at the time where he has just this much mana available to him. Let's pour over the pages. Oh yeah, all his instants and sorceries are one cheaper as well. So Edouard digging to ensure land drops and of course finding the removal he so desperately needs at this point. I was saying, with such a diverse board for Lars already, different types of permanents that are proving to be problematic, it's gonna be a bit more difficult for Edouard to find answers to this. A lot of the removal that works well on planeswalkers is rare itself, and so it's really hard to fit that into a Gentry deck. So that's Reef Soul on the Sky Spawner. To clear a bit of the board, and he keeps digging to find an answer to. Oh, we also see Edouard wearing the little crown. That's our current tiara, because somebody took the tiara home and forgot them. It's a sort of king of the hill thing we've got going at our tournaments. If you have the tiara and you win your match, a random booster gets given to a player. If you have the tiara and you lose your match, you give the tiara to the player who defeated you, and that player gets a booster. It's a silly little thing we've got going, but causing a lot of fun. So I think that's an ultimate price on the token, as Lars chooses to attack with Gideon over creating another token. So choosing to go on the offensive, realizing it's a very difficult permanent for Edouard to deal with. I wouldn't be surprised if the only answer Edouard has is to bounce it when it's attacking as a creature and then counter it again when it comes down. So it could be that. Yes, it was Anouk that forgot it. She stalls it, but she's judging here now, so she's made it okay again. Um, Not sure which spell that one was. Ah, I think that's the reprint of accumulated knowledge, right? The ones that draws you a card and then one card for each copy of it in the graveyard. And we have our first Rise from the Tides. So, how many? Oh, but a spell shrivel answers it. That's 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 nasty. So that's also exiled, meaning Edouard can't recycle it. That's a pretty painful thing. So that means this game remains nice and stable though, uh, except for the Gideon pounding Edouard's face. But he has two more turns to find an answer to that. Gideon coming in aggressive and in combat. Lars wants to play something. So we're still in the attack step here, and Lars choosing just to do 7 damage. Mm. Follows that up with another anticipate to scope his hand for the next turns. Plays a reflector mage. That's actually an interesting play because the reflector mage has pretty much no targets for his ability, and this way he's actually threatening lethal damage next turn, again forcing Edouard to answer two types of permanents. So Edouard digging for probably bounce spell, counter spell, removal spell. It's like the perfect cocktail to get out of this scenario. There are some interesting cards in his hands, but none of them actually help him right now. Pieces of the puzzle. Yep, apparently the stream is a bit silent because the microphone we're working with is just a headset from the outpost, and the audio input it gives is just a lot less than usual on our microphone. So sorry, but the only thing that we can do about it is asking you guys to turn it up from you. I understand that means that static is probably getting a bit more annoying, but yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. It should be better when we get our good microphone again for the finals. So look forward to that. So in the meantime, Edouard got a Reef Soul to get rid of the Reflector Mage and is now again set up to die from Gideon in 2 attacks. Not sure of what the second card was that Edouard got of pieces of the puzzle, but if Lars know that it's a creature bound spell, that obviously changes how he wants to attack here. Yeah. So Gideon again turns into 5/5, goes for the face. Edouard opts to do nothing about it, and Lars gets the excuse me gets a Whirler Rogue Clash of Wills. Clash of Will. So we're back to, does Edouard have an answer to Gideon or no? He drew